Okay, hello everybody. How are we doing here?
Fine, good, good.
Good. We're going to be going through a panel discussion here talking about using technology to connect outside of the classroom. And obviously, one of the things that's so exciting about our topic is that I think right now, just the five of us, we're all over the world. So it's sort of a living, breathing experience of what we're going to be talking about. So let's just sort of jump right on in here, and maybe we could each take a moment just to say where we're from and what brought us together here this morning. For me, I know we're all over the place, but for me, it's 11 o'clock here. Why don't we start with Amita and tell us where you're from and just sort of give us a real quick 1-2.
Yeah, myself is Amita from India. Here we have 8:30 p.m. and it's an honor for me to be with you all, the eminent panelists and the guests on such an auspicious day. And I myself is a graduate from business management, did my master's from Delhi University and associated with Microsoft since last 4 years and have been into teaching from last 18 years. So my teaching is from university level to school is quite a big journey, and I am really thankful to educators like you and the resource persons who are giving us the opportunity to interact and giving us the opportunity to learn and share. I mean to say, it is very important, and globally, when it comes into action, that means a lot. Means it is not benefited for the teachers. It is for the students who are the future generations, and we are the teachers because of them. And it's an honor to be here again.
Thank you, Amita. That's wonderful. Yes, we appreciate you being here too. You're certainly a part of the global experience that we're having here. Martha, how about you give us a real quick hello?
Hi, everyone. My name is Martha Bongiorno. I'm a library media specialist in the state of Georgia. I have my EDS from the University of Georgia in instructional technology and school library media. My journey as an educator went from helping to start the first K-8 STEAM school in the state of Georgia and has transitioned to offering professional development for our teachers and for our students, and working to promote change within the school building from a different classroom, just a larger classroom in the school. So I'm excited to be with you all and learn and grow together.
Hey, thank you, Martha. Yogesh, where are you from, buddy?
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Yogesh from again India, and presently I'm sitting in the Shimla. That is outside is very cold right now, and about as an educator, as a teacher. Presently, I am working in Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti, which is one of the best, I should say, organization in the world, which is providing free education to the students. Secondly, I'm working as a postgraduate teacher biology with this in this system for the last 18 years. And before joining this Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti, I served in an education college as a lecturer in teaching of life sciences. I am also associated in India with the NCRT, that is the premier institute in India related to that policy making and related to this education system. So many seminars and all that things I have attended at seminar at NCRT, National Council for Education Research and Training in India. And also at the international level, I am connected with so many organizations, like 100 organization I am connected, and with Microsoft also I am associated since 2017. So this is a great opportunity for me to be part of this group, interacting with all the educators throughout the world, sharing, exchanging views, learning something new. Thank you, and looking for the great conversation. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Yogesh. Okay, last but certainly never least, Kemi, why don't you give us a little bit about yourself? Kemi, don't forget to unmute yourself. There you go.
So, all right, my name is Kemi Infu. I am called Olua Kemi. I am I'm an educational technologist by training. I have work with the university here at the Teachers Faculty of Education, where we train teachers in the use of technology in the classroom. Besides that, I also have an educational technology consult that I run, where I help schools integrate technology into the teaching and learning process and help to best maximize the use of technology in class. I consider myself a global educator, and I think my major milestone on this journey began when I joined the Microsoft Innovative Educator community. And so I began to have network with educators from around the globe, and we began to not just get to know one another, but begin to connect our classrooms and also began collaborations across the globe. So I'm glad to be here this evening, because for me it's like 4 p.m. in Nigeria here.
Very
Hello,
cool.
Kat.
Thank you so much, everybody. My name's Rob Furman. I am in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Actually, more specifically, I'm in South Park, Pennsylvania. It has absolutely nothing to do with the cartoon. I'm an elementary principal. To make matters worse, I named my second child Kyle. So I am actually the father of Kyle from South Park. Yes, Martha, you find that funny. I know, it's terrible. But anyways, we're going to have a great conversation here, and it's so neat to watch the chat. We have people from Argentina, Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Sweden. It's just such a great experience to have this global collaboration, because that's our conversation. So we're talking about using technology to connect these students all around the world. And I think before we get into the how we do that, probably the most important thing that we all need to agree upon would be why. Why do we see this as something important? Why do we feel like our kids need to be connected on a global scale? Anyone can feel free to jump in first, and let's get this conversation going. Amita, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the global collaboration gives all the face-to-face interaction between the students of multilingual thoughts they come up with. They came about the new curriculums, they came about the new cultures of different countries. And the most important thing is that really improves their communications. Communications means they love to share with each other. And the most important thing, that gives quietest students a voice. The students who feel shy while interacting in the class, within the four walls of classroom, they are not very much, I think they don't feel comfortable when they are interacting globally with the different students from different parts of the world. So they feel graced, and really I feel myself, they become more confident, and what they learn empathy. Empathy is the main thing that come into their place, and they became more the bonding, the sharing develops in them is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I come in there?
Oh, go ahead, Kemi, then we'll get Martha second.
Okay, sorry. I just think that the world is becoming more interconnected due to the digital technological advancement that we're experiencing, and our borders are beginning to kind of disappear. So it becomes quite imperative for our students to begin to learn how to think globally, live globally, work globally, have this, become globally competent. So connecting our classrooms and having this kind of global connections will help to develop the skills that our students need to know how to live and learn and work in the global village that technology has created.
Absolutely. Martha.
I'm not going to lie. I started using Skype about 6 years ago just to teach the content that I was teaching. I was teaching social studies and I wanted to teach about, geography and history and all that. But really what I was starting to see with our students is just all that encompasses that Amita was talking about with communication skills and learning different perspectives other than your own. But really the heart of what I'm seeing, and I've worked in a Title I school and now I'm working in a very high income area, is the empathy that is fostered when you start breaking down your classroom walls and starting to see how other people are living, and that windows and mirrors aspect of education gets to the heart of why this is so important. If we're going to move forward with our society and move forward with the issues that are facing us, we need to all be in that together. And at the heart of that requires empathy. And it's not sympathy that we need. We really need to put each other in other people's shoes to see how we can solve those issues. So that's really what my passion has become. I'm kind of sad to say that it's taken me this long to realize that, but I'm glad that we're here and we can start learning and growing together.
Absolutely. And I've noticed, I do a lot of presenting in some international conferences like ISTE and things like that. And the other thing I've noticed is one of my friends, for example, let me tell you a quick story here. They work with, I believe it's Digital Promise. And in her meetings, her daily meetings, she goes into an office with a platform, a TV screen, just like we have right now. And her teammates are all over the world. So I think not only is empathy critical, which I completely agree with you, Martha, but I also think we need to look at it from a business aspect where we are no longer going to have our colleagues on the team in the same room at the same time all the time. They're going to have to be able to work in a global enterprise right within any business. Businesses do no longer need to hire somebody who's less than a 45-minute drive from their main headquarters. It just doesn't exist anymore. They don't need that. We can do what we're doing right now. We could be working on a project with people from literally Nigeria, India, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and we could be working on a project right now. And I think this is going to become the norm rather than the exception. So to have these experiences, including the empathy, including the understanding of everybody all over this world, it's going to also become, I think, a very critical part of their business experience as well. Yogesh, how about you?
Yeah, in my opinion, no doubt technology is nowadays breaking all the barriers. That, in my opinion, classroom, it is not within the four walls. Now, nowadays, we are learning globally and working globally to resolve the various issues, okay? And for that, we have to connect with the other people's, other students, we can say. For example, any issue we can take, if we work globally, then we can take out the better ideas, share the better ideas, and we can resolve that issue effectively as compared to the condition where we are working in a continent, we can say, or in a country. That is the main advantage. And the technology, no doubt, it is very beneficial in resolving all the issues which we are facing. We are nowadays more connected, more thinking globally, and that is the main thing. I am in favor of that connection, not only at the level of students, but also at the level of teachers, educators, policymakers. All should connect, think globally, and then as per act globally, so that quite easily we can achieve all the targets which we are looking to achieve. Okay, That's all from my side. Thank you.
Absolutely. And it is so important. So it sounds like we have agreed on the why, the idea of empathy, the idea of working with like-minded people across the globe. All of these things are so true. So the big question, of course, is we all agree it's important. So how do we do this? How do we do this within a classroom of 20-some kids? And from maybe the schools like Martha, who I would guess has a lot of technology, to maybe schools that have very little to maybe even no technology. How do we make this? So we've all agreed it's critical. So now how do we make it happen? Who wants to go first? All right, Kemi.
Okay, I want to go first because I'm from an experience where we have little or no technology. And but it's just so amazing that with a laptop, and I normally use a hotspot, I can actually connect classrooms to the globe. You know, I've had quite a number of classroom connections. I live in a suburban area, and so we don't really have much of this. Most of the schools around there don't have much technology infrastructure, and so sometimes some schools don't even have a projector. So sometimes I have to get a laptop that has a wide screen, find somewhere to place it on, and then I connect via Skype, you know, to a classroom across the continent and all that. But it's whatever hassles or stress or whatever it is you have to do to make these connections, because when you see the excitement in the eyes of these kids, realizing that, oh, I'm meeting somebody from another country, you know, because for me, it's a possibility that wouldn't really have been for most of them if these connections weren't, if technology didn't afford for these connections. They may not even have known places beyond their immediate local environment. And here I am taking them not just beyond their immediate local environment, but beyond the continent to other continents, other countries. And they're realizing that though I don't have all what these kids have, but we are similar. You know, we both have two eyes, as basic as that, one nose and all that. And, you know, sometimes in interacting, they realize, I know what you know, and you know what I know. And so they see more of their similarities than their differences. And I guess it just broadens their horizon and their thinking. And maybe they hope that one day they get to visit these countries and all that. So with little technology, you can actually have these connections possible.
Absolutely. And I would be willing, and I've done this before with other groups, I think one of the tricky parts when you're talking about Skype and video conferencing, things like that, is just finding somebody on the other end. I would be willing to do that with other classrooms. I'm an elementary principal. I can read a story right here if you want. I have this set up in my office, and it's just sort of for those people that are maybe nervous about how do we get it started. I would be willing, and I'm sure maybe some of us, I don't want to speak for other people, but you know, we'd be willing to do that because sometimes just that first step really opens up the opportunities. I'm sure there's all over the thing. You could find me. My Twitter's @drfurman, @Dr. Furman. Find me anywhere you need to, and I'd be willing to do that because I do believe it's hard to get started. Martha, can we hear something from you?
Yeah, I was about to say, this is such a layered question because when you're talking about how do you get started with global collaboration, there's the technology side of it, but there's also the support that's required and the connections that's required to venture on that journey. And so having experiences in two very different schools, you know, it's definitely been a journey. So I'm coming from Kemi's point of view where the STEM school that I was at actually had very little technology coming from Title I, and we were trying to get grants to get things off the ground and running. So it was often me with my phone and Skype trying to connect via my personal Wi-Fi, you know, because our bandwidth couldn't handle any of that. Now that's changed over the past 10 years, but you know, things like that. But I don't think it's always technology either, as much as I love it. But there's this wonderful thing called pen pals.
There's question number 3, by the way. So we can move right on to that one too. We can use both of them. Is the technology essential?
I'm sorry. Yeah, so there is a wonderful thing called pen pals, and I know we have e-pals now. But I mean, we've been doing this for ages, even with, what was that, Stanley? Traveling around the world and all of that.
Stanley.
Yes,
We
Flag
have that
Stanley.
too. Yep, I love it.
So the idea of needing to connect with others has always been there. Technology is just changing the way that we're doing that. And now we have ePals. And the school that I'm at now is one-to-one iPads, which blows my mind. But now we're using Flipgrid and we're using, Skype and all those things. So my role has changed. I used to be the one that coordinates everything for our whole school, for all of our teachers. And now it's really me teaching them how to take ownership of that and use it in a way that's beneficial for them. But I would say the hardest thing that we have is connecting officially with other people. Oftentimes when you're trying to do mystery Skypes or projects, technology doesn't work sometimes on the day that you're trying to connect with them, or, the time difference gets messed up. And so, or sometimes people just don't show up. And so that's often scary for people. So Rob, I like that you mentioned just getting your feet wet and just doing a read aloud. Like, we have Global Read Aloud in February, using not little, but like big days like that everyone's online all at the same time doing the same thing is a great way to start. And then once you feel confident in your ability and see that impact that you're making, moving forward with more specific projects.
Yes, and on top of that, I know we're talking about the world and the globe, but even just to get started, just go down the street. I mean, just to get out of the four walls is going to be a benefit. It may not be easy to connect with somebody in Italy your very first time, but if you would connect with somebody from Pennsylvania to Florida, Georgia to Texas, one of those type of things, at least it gives you that experience of using the technology and getting those nerves out of the way.
I like that. Sorry, just going off of that. I love that you mentioned that, because the Title I school that I worked at was in Savannah. And so some of our kids have never even been to the beach or to the mountains. They just don't have the finances to be able to do that. So 20 miles down the road. So one of my very first Skypes was Skyping with someone in our mountainous regions. And so, they were like, oh my goodness, you have deer in your backyard. And we're sitting here with like flat coastal land. And so for them, it was a huge deal. So I like that you mentioned even someone in your own state getting your feet wet with that.
Absolutely. Amita or Yogesh, Amita, you want to go?
Yeah. I would like to share one thing. During Skypeathon, Microsoft, the most festive event is Skypeathon. And it was a 2-day event that we get. And now my students are more curious than me to host the session. They are working 24/7 to interact with the other classes around the globe. Last year, we met around 30 educators from different countries, and they learned a lot. And that means a lot, means in the assembly, they are sharing their things with the juniors and with the seniors, because I do have the classes of 9th and 10th at that time. Grade 9th and 10th I was taking. And the student was so I cannot express the things in the world. The feelings of them are the sparks I can see in their eyes when they are interacting or sharing. So the global collaboration means a lot for them also. So we should together, so we can do anything. Alone we cannot. Kemi, I would like to add one thing for you. She is the coach of mine in this year. We went for E2 Education Exchange Program, and she is my coach. You remember? Yes, she is my coach, and we work together for like 6 to 7 hours. Yes, so we learn from each other. The things that we get is wonderful. When I came from there, I implement so many things with my students. We get the resources from there. So resources only doesn't matter for the thing. Actually, it is the educator who is the one who gives the path, who carves the path for their students. I think that is very much required for the things to be implemented.
Excellent. Thank you, Amita. Yogesh?
Yeah, no doubt technology, it is doing a lot. But as far as I am concerned, we are located in Himalayas. And our school is in the rural area. No doubt, sometime we are not getting the facility, we are not getting the connectivity even. In such cases, we are a little bit disconnected from the world. We feel like that. Otherwise, what is there? We are trying hard to provide each and every facility, opportunity to the students through Skype, through Flipgrid, or such programs, direct exchange with the scientists at the national and international level. We are providing the opportunities, but due to the location, sometime we feel disconnected, or sometime we face difficulties. Otherwise, through the technology, we are learning a lot. Even students are very happy to learn, exchange the ideas, exchange the views with the other scientists, educators throughout the world. Thank you.
Absolutely. Excellently said. Martha, what you're writing right there is going to be our next question. You like to jump ahead, don't you? I could tell. All right, before we get
excited.
I'm sure. Before we do that, and you can actually use this for the next one, let's go round robin here. Each one of us take an opportunity. I would like to give one piece of technology that we can offer in terms of an idea. We've already said Flipgrid and those type of things, Skype. Let's try to dig into our bank here and see if we can come up with any other ideas. Let's all give one technology idea, and then let's also try to come up with one way that we could do this if we do not have a high-end version of connectivity, things like that. Let's see if we can come up with almost like a laundry list that we could share out. Let's start off with Kemi. Put you on the hot spot here. You're the first. Make sure you unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, sorry, because I have a lot of activity around me, so I keep myself mute. Well, I use Flipgrid, but I use Skype a lot, and but sometimes we don't know. There has been an update on Skype, which allows you to record your conversations, your connections, and also the translator. So with the translator, you don't have the barrier of language, and so you could communicate with any class from in any country, even if you don't speak the same language, and you still can understand each other because it automatically translates what you say or the chats that you type up and all that. So I'm more of a Skype person, and I guess, and I have also knowledge of Flipgrid, but mostly those are the tools I use to connect with classes. But again, one thing about the Skype, you don't have to have the synchronous connection. You can have a slow, just like you do slow chats in Twitter, where you do your recording, and whenever the next person has the time or the connectivity, they can watch your recording and then reply, to you. And so you can have that slow asynchronous connections even through using these devices.
Thank you. Excellent. Who wants to go next with a hand raise? Okay, I'll go next, I guess. Don't all jump at once here, guys. That's kidding. I would think in terms of not having a lot of connectivity or even any connectivity, I would think we would want to look at, obviously we could do letter writing, which we've done for hundreds of years. But even more so than that, I do know that there are other, like in my town, we have a Slovenian heritage area. We have an Italian, Little Italy type of area. All because we can't maybe get connected with them in Italy, there would still be people within our area where you could bring them in and have those conversations. Think of mini field trips to areas in your area that maybe have an ethnic slant, like we have an Irish town and things like that. all because we don't necessarily have the technology. I don't think that gives us a reason to ignore the fact that we still need to be able to get these kids involved with people from other areas because of everything we said earlier. So even though we can't necessarily talk to them at their time in their country when they're actually physically there, that doesn't mean there aren't other people around that we can't find a way to get them into us. It is that important, I think, to try. Anybody want to add a tech or non-tech one? All right, Martha, I'm putting you on the hot spot here. Give me one.
So I definitely have my favorites and the easiest to use. But I guess my tip or trick would be just ways that you can start small. And things that we've mentioned, like the Skype-a-thon or Global World Read Aloud Day, or in America, like Read Across America Day or something like that. But there's other ones like Virtual Valentines or Awesome Squiggles, little things here and there that can cross content areas. But I love the idea of good old-fashioned pen pals. Like, that's just a lost art to me, and it's so amazing that you could send, cards across the world and end up. Although I did have a friend in southern Russia, we ended up using YouTube videos instead of actually writing pen pals, because for her mail gets lost all the time. And so she can't do regular good old-fashioned pen pals because we were writing Christmas cards to each other. And she was like, no, YouTube would be much easier for me. And I was like, wow, okay, I hadn't thought about that. So there are things to think about where I think something I take for granted, sending mail, for her was difficult. So I guess what I'm trying to get to, Martha, is finding what works for you.
And even on top of that, you said something that was really fantastic there, and I think we glossed over it a little too quickly.
Sorry.
What an experience for your classroom, for them to realize that this person in Russia has a hard time getting hard mail. I mean, something that a lot of areas would take for granted, and what an experience your kids had learning that. I mean, I think that's a very small version of what this is all about. Especially kids that are come from more affluent areas. They're like, what, you don't get mail? Well, yeah, it can be that tricky. How about Amita or Yogesh? Either of you want to chime in on any ideas? I think Amita's jumping for it here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes. Rob, I agree with you. Not only most of the students are coming from the different areas. They don't have that much resources. I do agree. But the passion that took them to that path also. We have the students from the government schools too. They don't have so much resources. Even they don't have food for them. So technology is like a word for them to learn. So for that purpose, we are serving on the community basis. We have the extra classes for them, and Skype is one of the wonderful tool, and that is my favorite tool too. My class is very much tech savvy. They are using Sways, OneNote, and they are sharing their class notes on class notebooks, and they are very much well aware about the Flipgrid. They don't have problem in using any of the tools. But the one thing that I really want to add by them is when I was doing the global project, I initiated global project on Way to Peace, in which educators from different countries have participated, and we too have the students who don't understand English. Even they don't know how to like share the things with each other. So my students make the cards for them and make them understand what actually they want. So technology nowadays make the life better. Before 10 or 12 years back, say even last 4 or 5 years, we don't have we are not using these tools very frequently. But after the association or collaboration with Microsoft has envisaged us with these tools. So I'm happy that they are coming out with flying colors and they are doing so well with the technology, and they are now imparting the training to the students with autism. They don't have accessibility problems, like, so it's good to be with them while learning and sharing the things like this.
Absolutely. And for those of you that do have the connectivity and whatnot, I know that there's a video conference very similar to this called Easy Talk. It's completely free, and you can get this type of group conversations going as well. There's been a lot of good chat going on with people talking about Twitter and Flipgrid, obviously being a big one. Hashtag Grid Pals. You can find virtual pen pals in that way as well. Let's get to our last question here. And we've sort of touched on it here and there, but I think Martha had a good answer in chat. I wanted to go over this with us. How do we find other classrooms or people to partner with on these collaborative projects? And one of the ideas you had going through here was a good one, Martha. Let's bring that one up.
I definitely think it's all about your professional learning network, and finding people and the programs that you use, the interfaces that you use routinely. I dabble in a little bit of everything. So Instagram, Twitter, but honestly, a lot of my global collaborations come from Google Plus communities that are specific for what I'm looking for, the programs like Flipgrid or for Skypes or Google Hangouts, I use a lot too. And so whatever I'm looking for, the platform that I've learned, I go to find those people. But I don't want to discount finding connections at conferences and literally taking yourself out of your physical space and going and meeting other people like at ISTE or the Microsoft panels that we do through all around the world. And Tim, I don't know, Google Plus may be going away soon. I haven't heard anything about that, but that's going to make me cry if that's true or not. Sorry, I just saw that.
I did hear that it could be going away. I just heard that recently as well.
Well, as long as they replace it with something else, I'm okay.
Yes. And like you said, going to conferences, and the interesting thing is hashtags. Yeah. The other interesting thing is the fact that, you know, we're here, and I really can't stress that enough. Like those of us that are in India and Georgia and all over the place, right? Nigeria, you know, this would be a way to start. You know, contact one of us, and we can help you find other people in other areas. Obviously, we have a large base of educators that we could connect out for you if you don't. So we can help kind of get that ball rolling for you. And it is important, just like Martha said, to go out on your own as the teacher to connect, because aren't we the model? Aren't we don't we want our kids to do that? That's what we're trying to get them to do. If we can't do it, we certainly can't help them, educate them on how to do that. So I think Martha makes a good point that we really need to take that first step as the teacher in the classroom to figure out, how do I connect? And then I'm going to teach my kids how to connect. All right, so we're almost out of, absolutely, Kemi, go ahead.
Yeah, so just quickly, one of the best, easier way also is to connect. We have the Skype in the classroom.com. And so you have all the Skype activities, you have the guest speakers, you have the virtual trips, and all you need to do as a newbie is to just make a request for a session, and then the session will be accepted, or the timing may be changed or whatever. But I think it's an easy place, going to Skype in the classroom.com, to just find out those who are available to Skype. Their availability is always shown, and you could just look for what you're looking for and just send a request.
Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you. All right, we're almost out of time here, so why don't we all take one more chance to say what's on our mind, get our passion out on this one, and what do you want to leave this group with in terms of the idea of using technology to connect outside this classroom? You want to start with Kemi?
Sorry, I got distracted a bit here. Well, using technology in the classroom opens up breaks down the classroom walls, opens up, collaboration like we talked about, and also helps us to build the digital citizenship skills that our students need to learn because of the present digital world that we live in. And so they have to use these things to prepare themselves for the future they are entering into.
Excellent, thank you. Yogesh, you want to go next?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Technology is breaking the all the type of barriers and making this world smaller, more understandable. And I am quite sure with the technology we can achieve all the things, all the targets set up at all the levels. Okay, so with the technology we are moving ahead and we will move ahead, and let's hope to make the world a better place to live for all the people on the earth.
Thank you, Yogesh. I love your passion, man. It's addicting. Thank you so much. Amita?
The big thing I would like to add is I am using technology for making my class more interesting by using the tools like Skype is one of those, but I use Minecraft. Minecraft is a gaming stroke that really engages my class a lot. The things that they could understand while taking a time. With gaming, it makes it possible within a seconds. So like a subject chemistry that really not taking into the things by the students easily, because chemistry is not a easy cup of tea for everyone. Maths and chemistry is not easy for every student to learn at any level, but through gaming I understand, or I myself viewed that they learn the things easily and is able to implement it into a real life application. I taking them to the virtual trips by using the MAC accounts, my MAC accounts, and I involved some guest experts from different countries related to different subjects. So that really engages them. That's all.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Martha?
No pressure. So I believe that our desire to connect with others is innate. Like that is just a part of who we are as a human race. And I don't want your fear or the people around you to have a fearful vision of connecting with others. If the technology doesn't work, that's great. Try it again tomorrow, or try pen pals, or try whatever you can. So don't let your fear, I don't think anyone in here has that fear, because obviously we're all here trying to learn together today. Maybe reach out to a colleague that may be fearful of connecting with others and take them under your wing and start that ripple effect in your school to try to break down those classroom barriers. Find what works for you, whether it's Minecraft, Skype-a-thons, projects. Find what you're passionate about, share that with your students, and learn from that. So yeah, I think that's great. I ramble a lot. I do want to thank you, Rob, for hosting us today and for your very poignant questions.
Well, thank you, Martha. What I would like to leave with is something that I've seen over my 20 years here in education. My parents are in education, so I literally grew up as a child listening to all these things. We're living in like the Wild West of education. I think when they write about us in the history books, they're going to be like, wow, they did some of these things really wrong. And some of the things are going to be like, wow, they really hit it nail on the head and they really didn't know what they were doing. So it's interesting. And I think the biggest thing that we're all saying here is, don't get frustrated and try. Just like, when they were going out to the Wild West in America here and traveling out there, not having a clue what was going on and hoping for the best. it's sort of trial and error, but the idea is just don't give up, because it is that important. We live in a very tiny little blue ball here on Earth now, and it's getting tinier with technology. So we have to be able to not only help our kids with empathy and understanding, but also to be able to work together as a group to fix these problems of the world. And I think what Yogesh said was spot on. We got to make this world a better place, and it starts with our kids. You know, this will be the generation very soon that's going to be running this little blue marble that we're all on, and if we don't help them get to that point that it's going to make a positive thing, we're going to be in trouble. So we have to start. We have to start now. It's on all of our educators' shoulders to do whatever we can to help our kids understand the importance of being a part of this globe. So thank you all so much. We're done here for this morning or evening, wherever you all are. And thank you so much for your time. And thank you to Michael and Tim for setting this up and working through this with us. Thank you.